just give it one more minute, and then I'm going to turn the baton over to Jordan. Hi, Miles. Glad you could join us. Thank you.
Oh, I can unmute myself. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
You have new freedoms. Okay, Jordan, I will hand the baton over to you.
Great, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Just to run through how this meeting will work, since it'll be a little different than our other ones. Throughout this meeting, you will all have the ability to mute and unmute yourself freely as the co-chairs go through the agenda. However, we do respectfully request that you keep your mics off unless you'd like to speak. In addition, if there is background noise coming from your mic while you are not speaking, I'm going to mute you on my end, since Zoom is very sensitive in picking up background audio, but feel free to unmute yourself at any time. If you are having any technical difficulties with Zoom, please private message me on Zoom. You can just click on the new chat function and select Community Board 8 Manhattan, just so the meeting flow isn't interrupted. But I'll turn it back over to you, Sharon.
Thank you so much. And Jordan is our community associate at Manhattan Community Board 8. She, John, and Will are holding down the office, and we really appreciate it. I have the pleasure of co-chairing this committee. My name is Sharon Pope Marshall. I have the pleasure of co-chairing this committee with Robin Seligson. And we are really happy to see all of you, and hope that you had a wonderful summer as we ease into the fall. One of the first things that we wanted to do was to discuss from the agenda, discuss our election day tabling event at Wagner High School. And this is really exciting. I want to recognize Danielle. Danielle, welcome. Glad you were able to join us, as well as Monica. Good to see you. This was a suggestion by our chairperson, Valerie Mason, who I think had a wonderful idea about tabling just outside of Wagner High School on Election Day. And we know that there's going to be a high turnout there. Everybody should be voting. And so I'm hoping that at some point we'll have some volunteers to join us to table on Election Day in November. So I know that that's a good month and several weeks, a good couple of months actually. But I wanted to put that on your radar. So if you like, you can carve out some time in your calendar to do that on Election Day. Is there anything that anybody wanted to add?
Yeah, so Valerie was at the Metropolitan Museum on Election Day, and she said it was chaotic because nobody understands ranked choice voting. So she felt that the presence of Community Board 8 folks would help, mitigate around that confusion. So she asked that we do tabling on Election Day, and we're not going to have ranked choice voting to deal with. There are going to be different challenges on that day, I'm sure. But what I wanted to put out to the group was I thought that Wagner on 70, yeah, 75th Street.
Yeah.
Wagner at 75th Street would be a good place for us to do tabling. And does anybody agree with that? Disagree with that? Is that a good place? I thought it,
If you're gonna do it, you need to do it at all of the polling places. Why
Oh.
just pick one?
that's not going to happen.
But why just one? I mean, do you know? And maybe Shari would be the person to know about which polling place gets the greatest number of voters.
Well, I mean, fine, we could check with her, but absolutely, Alita, it's not possible to be at every polling place.
Okay, but
on
I just
every
don't know.
side. I mean,
I just don't
it's,
know why
Yeah,
Wagner
I
over.
think that might spread us a tad bit thin. It's a wonderful idea, Alita, and since we're doing this for the first time, and Wagner is such a busy location on election day. I have voted there myself. That might be a good place for us to start, but if other people have other suggestions or recommendations for other election locations, definitely let us know, and we can certainly talk about that. But I think doing them all within our community district might leave us a little bit stretched.
and the other thing you have to recognize is when we go to these street fairs on the weekends, it's Saturday and Sunday, but election day is a regular working day for most people. So I'll be very happy if we get a full complement of CB8 folks at one table.
Well,
But the other thing that we could do is if somebody, for example, says, how come you were at Wagner and there wasn't a table at my polling place, is just say this is a pilot program, which in essence is what it is. We're going to see whether or not that works.
Right.
Can I
And-
ask something? I'm not
I
entirely sure
appreciate
what
that.
it
Get
is. Can I talk for a second? I'm not sure what it is that the persons from CB8 would be doing if they're not explaining ranked choice voting. What happens because these
Peggy.
let me finish.
Yeah.
These polling places all have trained people beyond just the people checking you in to explain to you or to answer your questions. So I'm not sure what CB8 would be doing.
It's our presence. That's all. We may not explain anything to anybody, but we're just there.
For what? To do what?
Just to publicize our presence and talk about community board.
I think it's kind of, disruptive. The people are there to vote,
Well, we're not going in the school. We're going to be at a table on the street. And it's just to show.
It's going to be cold. This is November.
It's to show the flag of CB8 on a very heavily trafficked and heavily populated day.
Well, let's remember, first of all, people should have something to do. And number two, it's going to be cold. So I'm confused. Obviously we have to do it, but I think something needs to be done so the people have a reason for being there other than, hi, here's some literature, because it's confusing. People are coming to vote and the literature they're being handed is about the candidates. And I just think this is overkill, but also I think we have to remember it's going to be cold.
Okay, and I just want to say one other thing, which is a year in advance. Valerie also asked us to do tabling, and this is next August at National Night Out. Is that what it's called? National Night Out? Yeah, the police one. So we're gonna be asking folks to come and have a table at National Night Out with the police. We have a ways to go on that one, but that's just a preview.
Thank you, Sahar, for joining us, and welcome, Will. Good to see you both. Yeah, so I think that your points, Peggy, are really, really good points, and maybe, we could talk about this a little bit more, because if there's any literature that people are anticipating receiving as they're walking into the election, it's going to be literature about the candidates. But having said that, I think on the other side of the coin is that we do have we will have an audience, and it is a possibility. So we could talk about this a little bit more. I like Gail's suggestion, which I will call our get out of jail free card, which is that it's a pilot program, and we'll see how it works, or we'll see how it doesn't work. But we can explore this a little bit further, I think, in October.
You may want, could I just make a suggestion?
Yes.
There will be those awful ballot proposals. So if flip the ballot is an issue, you could have a palm card about flipping the ballot. We can't advocate for candidates. We don't do that. We don't even for the ballot proposals, but just the idea that they'll be on the ballot is something that may not get the kind of publicity that ought to be. And that's a very real function. That's all.
Good point.
Yeah, I think that that's a good point. I would feel most comfortable with talking about Community Board 8 in terms of doing the tabling.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, then never mind everything I said. I thought you were actually trying to help people with the voting thing, but if you're not, then one table's enough.
Well, I wouldn't totally take it off the table. That really is just my perspective, and I would be there to be talking about Community Board 8. But I think that we have gone as far as we can in this conversation about this, and we still have October to pick it up. So I think we'll do that then and continue the conversation. I want to ask Jordan to launch a poll in 2 minutes, but I want to say that we have several suggestions for a CB8 logo, a CB8 motto, and we need to pick 3 of them. I know that Alita sent in quite a bit, so thank you so much for that. So did Peggy Price, and a couple, I think Gail, you did as well, and a couple of other people. And I wanted to thank you so much for adding to that list and making it as comprehensive as it is. We have 13 possibilities. And no, 15. Is it 15? I don't remember. Jordan, is it 15 or 13?
It's 15.
15, yes. Yeah. So I'm going to ask Jordan to go ahead and release that poll. We're going to take a couple of minutes so that way you can go through them and just select the top 3 that you would like for Robin as well as myself to present to the full board, so that the full board can choose one among the 3. And so the poll has been released, and the wonderful thing about this is that we'll be able to know the results immediately. So go ahead and
Jordan,
Yes,
are we seeing all of them?
you should be able to.
I'm only
Yeah.
seeing 5.
Scroll. It's like a long list. You might have to like.
Okay, we have to
or you
scroll.
scroll
Yeah.
down. You
Okay.
scroll down within the poll.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what we're gonna do is please select your best 3. And then we're gonna aggregate this poll and take the top three, present it to all of our CB8 members, all of us at the next meeting, and then we're going to select one, and that's going to become our motto.
We could only pick one.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Well,
The
the
poll
full
won't let you
board,
pick more than one.
the full board is going to select one, but this committee, we want this committee to
Pick
come out.
three.
What we want is to
We
come out of
can't.
this
You
committee
can't pick
three.
three.
We can't pick three. The poll won't allow it. The poll will only allow one choice. If you click on a second choice, it erases the first one and moves it to the second one.
It did mine too, exactly.
Okay, we need to be able to pick more than one.
Do you want to put it up again and maybe we do like 3 separate choices? Like I've given one submission, maybe you put it up again, and for me, I don't know if it will allow. Probably it won't, right?
Okay, that's going to be that. I think that might be a tad bit labor intensive, I think, for Jordan. Jordan, are you able to change the settings on the poll to multiple choice, not multiple choice, or can
You
you?
can certainly try. It might take a minute or so
Okay, so
to
why
get
don't
that
you?
going. However, we could also do like top 3 choices, like based on the percentage of who chose what. And that could be the 3 as well.
Okay, but that means that people can only choose one. And because if they choose another one, then the previous one, as I understand, will not be registered.
Okay, so
So-
I'm gonna go ahead and close this
Okay.
poll then for now. I'll see if I can change it to multiple choice and see if we can let people select multiple at once.
Yeah, I think that will work. And we'll just continue with the agenda. Okay, the district needs statement. So.
Yes. Do you
Yeah,
want me to address that since Jordan is working on the changing the
Would-
poll?
Would you please? Yes.
I would be happy to. Each year, every community board has to submit a statement of community district needs and the community board budget request. So what we try to do is not just have input from CB8, but have input from the community as well. And we adjusted the survey last year. The survey came in this year. Last year, we actually had more responses, even though it's been on social media. There's been a lot of outreach. Nonprofits in the district have received copies. But the burning issue last year was more pickleball courts at John Jay and Carlsberg. So that was why I think we had something like 50 or 60 community responses saying we want more pickleball courts. So we had fewer responses this year, but we still had a goodly number. And interestingly, last year our top 3 choices were for our district priorities. And we use those as the basis when we then go through budget requests, both expense and capital. Last year, the first was affordable housing. The second priority was parks. And the third priority was crime, potential crime, and quality of life. And it's interesting because the way in which the district needs forms work for the city, they don't give you a lot of leeway in the manner in which they provide the template for us to fill out information. But this year it was interesting because affordable housing certainly came up in the top 4 or 5, But when I looked at a combination, I'm just trying to get you the number of both crime and also quality of life. And quality of life defined by the city includes things like noise, graffiti. There's a separate category for streets, but that's also part of the cleanliness and noise. All of that kind of falls together. And interestingly, if we take both the quality of life as well as the crime, that goes up right toward the top when we look at information that came back on the top three categories. Now, that does not mean that just because these are the categories of a smaller number of community members, all 50 board members of CB8 are part of the community. So input from the board and from the committee members is also something that we'll use tomorrow night at the budget meeting. And we're likely to find that parks and recreation, the quality of life, affordable housing, those still come out as the top categories. And interestingly, though, when you looked at the first choice, the second choice, and the third choice, then affordable housing was right up toward the top, even though crime and as well as looking at quality of life probably edged them out. But that's almost unfair because they're two separate categories. So, we want to balance that and have a good discussion tomorrow night before we decide what our top three priorities are. Then we'll go through all of the priority budget requests, both for the expense categories as well as for the capital. And with capital, we often end up with a lot for libraries or for public parks. But when it comes to the expense category, it may be short term, like making sure that potholes are fixed in certain neighborhoods, or that we have enough traffic personnel, or that there's safety folks that are paroling the park. So if anyone is available to come to the budget meeting tomorrow night, be happy to have you. And if you've got any questions, I think that one of the things as we start to look at our communications here is basically figuring out how we are able within the logo and any taglines to really still address the issues that the community and the community board members continue to raise as the most important ones. And I'll answer
Thank
any
you.
questions if you have any.
Yeah, I see that, Barbara, your hand is up. By the way, you can unmute yourself. But I just wanted to ask you a quick question, Gail. You said the top three were affordable housing, parks, and public safety or crime?
Well, crime and quality of life for last year. But right now, what I want to do is go further into the survey. Robin did a very good job, but I just want to see how we're calculating because she has numbers that really show, like you may have a category that people are interested in, but how many people responded. And what I'm still finding, and there's several pages here, so I haven't completed my own analysis yet, but you'll, for example, see that street conditions ends up being an area that's really very important to people as well. So the way in which these 7 priority areas are defined by the city, we have to slip things into those categories when we ask questions, and sometimes it becomes a little bit confusing. But I would think that affordable housing, parks definitely, as well as quality of life and crime, will still probably be in the top 3. The question that I have is whether affordable housing ends up being number 1 or number 2. Does parks go to the top of the list, or does quality of life? So I want to look at all the information on the data that actually came out of the survey and see, and then of course the input from our board members as to what we really feel happen to be the top 3. But we only end up in the way the district needs statement writes, we do an overview of the district. as far as numbers of people who live here, demographics, et cetera, then we list what we view as currently the top 3 priority issues. Then that gets set into another subset where there are 7 priority areas, like one being youth and education. And within the youth and education bucket, there may be 8 or 10 questions that came up, and then we'll see how those are ranked. So that helps also as we go through each of the individual priority requests. So what we do is we rank them. So we decide which priority request is the most important in each of the categories. And then we have the overall spreadsheet that then goes into the city, and and this is due by the end of October. And that's why we also, committee chairs will be hearing from Felice and myself just to take a look at what they submitted last year and find out if those priorities remain the same, or if there was something that was, for example, an expense category for example, at JREC, kind of upgrading their cafeteria. If that's already been done, then that would be removed as an item. If, on the other hand, it's still outstanding and that's been a request for 2 or 3 years, then we write to the DOE and request that here's our priority number. It's very important to our district. When will money be allocated? And sometimes they'll just write back and say, great idea, we have no money. Or other times they'll say it's in a pipeline and it'll happen in 2 years. So it does get a little bit detailed and tricky, but we'll do our best to try to put together what is most reflective of the board and the community at large.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Gail, and the
Sure.
work that goes into it. Barbara?
Yeah, thank you, Gail. You not only explained it well, but after all these years, I'm questioning in a way I never did before. So there's the desires, we want to make it better, but then you have to put it in a bucket for the budget. Am I right?
Correct.
So, for instance, crime and quality of life, the way it is right now, is both under the police.
Correct.
I believe. Am I right?
Mhm. Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Well, it's half under the police with quality of life. If it's a
Sorry?
noise issue, yes, under quality of life, part of it is under the police, but
What
it
else
might be noise. And then let's say, then you go to the city agency that deals with entertainment and evening cabarets and all. So it gets really a little bit dicey sometimes.
Oh, so that wouldn't be under the police either?
The police wouldn't necessarily be responsible for all quality of life issues. If somebody says, well, there's graffiti, that's sanitation. Right.
Okay.
So that's also what kind of makes it a little bit
So with the
dicey.
quality, with the district needs, you have to be more specific to know which bucket it goes into.
Right, because then when we, for example, request a certain amount of funding, we have to go to the agency that would fund. Like, so if we want to have additional trash pickup, then that goes to sanitation.
Right.
If on the other hand, it's purely graffiti, that's also sanitation. But if it's petty crime, then it's the police department.
Okay.
So there are
Thank you.
overlaps.
You really
Sure.
explained it better than after all my years, my
Thank you.
waning years being
She
on.
did.
You really explained it very well. Thank you. I
You're
started
more
thinking
than
about it
welcome.
differently.
Thank you, Barbara.
Is there anything that the communications committee can do to support the budget committee and the work that your committee is doing, Gail?
Well, what I would love it's a little late now because we already have had the community survey completed and we're just doing the analysis. But I could see the communications committee as we move forward next year, trying to get information out to the public about how important this survey is, because if they have issues that they want to address, if we don't know everything, so let's say there's a school that none of us have children in or grandchildren in those schools, or know someone who has a child there, but there's a very specific need for example, the recess area. Something that the city can do to help, why not? You know, anything that we find out, maybe they need to have some additional funding for a new computer lab, and they're raising their own funds, but they need some specific assistance. So I think if we could engage the community, I mean, I think that that's one of the major issues of the communications committee at large, is we're such a wonderful secret that the more people can find out about the community board. And I think that other avenues of doing outreach, perhaps regarding the survey and telling people why their voice really matters, could be very helpful.
Gail, at
So-
what point I'm sorry, a real quick question. At what point next year would this reach out? You know, would you want it to commence?
I would like it to actually start in the spring. We always do it in the summer. And I think that even if the actual survey gets posted in the summer, we can find some clever ways to say how input matters. And then by April, start to kind of send out teasers. And then in June, get the survey out. So June, July, and August gives people enough time.
Right, because my understanding is that we did not get a great response this
Correct.
particular cycle. It was pretty de minimis, actually. So,
Well, and I think it went out a little bit later than
Okay.
usual as well. So I think if we have the lead time where literally we have a good 3 months, and
okay,
then we keep, I know that what Will and certainly Jordan were doing, refreshing our web page and all, but I think we need a little bit more than that, something that'd be a little bit more catchy. And I'm not at all certain what that would be, but if we could just reach out to the community ahead of time, let them know the survey's coming and that it really matters, and even the budget, you know, if you want certain things fixed in your neighborhood, you know, let us know. And
Speak up.
Yeah. Mhm.
So if I could just for a minute, I think Robin had the conversation with Valerie, and then I spoke to Felice about starting to put a message out there to the local groups here, whether it's Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups. There's hundreds and hundreds of subgroups for everything in this neighborhood. So I promoted it on about, I want to say like 6 or 7 different groups. And I told people to join. Of course, the first thing, which was my kind of learning mistake, is that people started posting what they would want. And I was like, no, I'm not your mouthpiece. You have to actually join the meetings and come and voice yourself. And we got a ton of interaction from what people wanted in the community. And I went and I sent Felice all the screenshots of what people wanted, which is like, I hope they show up tomorrow. I'm eager to see how many people remembered, first of all, because that's another lesson that I learned, is that not to do it too far in advance. I don't know how many people actually put it on their calendar. Usually you got to do it like a week before an actual like committee hearing, so it's fresh in people's mind and that energy and momentum is there. But just so you know, we did get a lot of responses from people all over in the zone that did voice. And I don't know if you talk to Felice, she has the actual screenshots and concerns of what people were saying. But yeah, those are things that are really effective in getting people engaged and talking and kind of creating this like social buzz. Because people love to complain on social media. And that's really where you can get people all riled up and going.
Right. Thank you. Now I'll talk to Felice. I was unaware of this. Next time, if you have anything, please share it with me as well.
Maybe I just wanted to add to that Daniel, maybe you can send a reminder on the same social media, because it's such a great idea. But just like kind of, hey guys, wrote that, now it's happening.
Yeah, I know. Well, here's the thing, is that you don't want it overkill, because we have so many other things coming up. So what will happen is that admins will silence you if they feel like this is just like your political platform in a way.
So you got to be very strategic. I think that, you know, sending these teasers out and whatnot is a really good idea. But I think if you really want participation and people coming to your meetings, you should really do it like a week ahead of time. And that is really fresh on people's mind. We also have 2 other things coming up this month, Sarah, which I want to get people's attention on.
Yeah.
So I overkill is a very, very thin line that you have to, you know, be careful of.
Okay, I see
Can
that.
I ask Gail another question?
Yeah, I think
What
Boaz
is-
and Peggy.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think Boaz and Peggy have their hands up.
Okay.
Barbara.
I thought we could just talk out. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you can.
Oh, I'll just keep my hand up. Don't worry.
Boaz?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome.
Thank you. Long time.
Yes.
Yeah, I will make it short. I'm a big fan of the community board. As you know, I haven't went anywhere. I'm watching you guys on YouTube whenever I can. And I was hearing the back and forth conversation, what Peggy was saying, what Gail was saying, what Daniela was saying, and you are starting to touch my feelings. So first of all, I mean, what Peggy was saying earlier, the conversation was about putting showing up in the election, and so there is a good present of a community board whenever I go to one of those open street and so on. I always see the booth of a community board. That's not I don't think that's the problem. And I think what Peggy was starting to say, so, okay, but what's the point? Okay, we have the booth, but what's the point? What are we going to do there? And I think that's a good question. I mean, what do I mean by that? Okay, let's say that you see someone on the street. What is your pitch for him to join the community board? Why should he join the community board? And that's something that English is not my first language. You have the English, you can articulate, you need to think about it, and you need to articulate it and then pass the message. But thinking about it, I was thinking about it for months, and I think that you need to start thinking about different age group. For example, high schoolers, bring them. Tell their teacher, okay, if you get us students to the community board will write a letter helping them get to university or whatever, or give them extra point, whatever. Listen, it's important. You know, they are our future. Give them an incentive to come to the community board. Start with high schooler, student in college, the same thing. Join the community board. First of all, I don't know, in Hunter College, a local college here, they don't teach political science. Where are all those students? Why they're not joining? I mean, let's go there. Let's give them incentive. Let's say, okay, you can join, and then you can meet the local representative, whatever, and build connection and find job, whatever. For the rest of the people, you know what Daniela was saying, I think she's right. I mean, people like to complain. I look, for example, at the coming calendar, coming meetings that you guys have, budget committee, street fair committee, and so on. Maybe just an idea, have like a complaint committee. Once a month complaint committee, let everyone listen. This is your place, come. You see someone, graffiti, come. And of course, the community board doesn't have anything, you know, not necessarily you guys will be able to solve, but let's start the document. And I think it will be something that you can push it through the newspaper. Wow, Upper East Side created a complaint committee. I have a complaint. Think through this direction, but you need to start thinking about the incentive. Why people should actually join the community board? It's not clear. It's not clear. I don't know what's the pitch. And the last thing I have to say about it, for the people that run, I really like the fact that you are building this community committee and start thinking about, because this is the most important. Listen, the community board, other than liquor, that you give like a stamp on to a restaurant, coffee shop that they can sell liquor, or another to some kind of a formal thing about architecture in the historic area. The community board, let's face it, doesn't have any real power, right? But if you bring the people to the community, you have a power. So for example, when Stephanie brought all the people to fight against the new construction about the hospital, eventually, you know, she kind of lost. I mean, they are moving forward with the construction, but it created a lot of buzz. You know, it created a lot. I read about community board. I read about it in the news, in the local newspaper, and it demonstrates the power. So if you bring the people, if we bring the people to the community, I think we will have a power, even that there is no power. I know. And so what my last point is that every committee chair, you need to tell them, listen, one of your responsibility, you know, is to bring people. Start thinking how to bring more people to the committee. It's not, you know, if you're running a committee with 5 people, you know, it's a good starting point. But let's try to make it 10 people and so on. Let's put that in the agenda. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Boaz, and we understand you clearly, even though English is not your first language. And also appreciate your suggestion focusing on ensuring that our committees have more people and that there's a greater effort to bring or to get more people to attend our committee meetings. And I think that that is absolutely something that we should explore. So I know that there are a couple of hands up, and Danielle, I see you, but I do know that Barbara had
I have a quick question.
wanted to comment, and also Peggy.
Well, okay, a quick question. It's a question. What is the relationship, Gail, and something I should know, with the council people that have their own wish list of how they should do it? Like, how do you work with them, or do they take our list, or how does it work?
It depends. They have their own list, particularly with participatory budgeting.
Yeah.
And we usually look at what is being funded because the community is providing those answers. So when Julie Menon, for example, or when Keith would have their participatory budgeting, the budget committee looks at those particular issues. But what they do is separate from what we do.
It's two different budgets, right?
Yes.
They're coming
Well,
from
it's
their
not that
own, and
they're two different budgets in as much as the budget money that they're using is city council money.
Right. Okay.
The budget that we're dealing with is the New York City budget.
Right.
Can I just jump in? And Gail, thank you for your very complete and fulsome description of, can we kind of save the budget question
for tomorrow?
For tomorrow, yeah, we're kind of a little bit afield from where we want to be, and I know Sharon keeps a tight control on the timing, so maybe we can ask Jordan, did we get the voting issue fixed?
Yes, it should be. And in addition to, I know in terms of outreach with the survey, I do have a timeline of how we've gone through different avenues of outreach, whether it be social media when we posted it, who exactly we reached out to, and on what dates. So if you want to, I could go through that really quickly. And so we already know how we've reached out for this particular survey, and if you guys wanted to figure out different avenues as well. But
Let's, I see that Peggy has her hand up. If you would not mind just holding that point for just a moment, Jordan, if you could release the survey, and we'll also hear from Peggy and Danielle, who have been waiting patiently. Peggy?
Oh, thank you. Oh, should we vote first before I talk?
No, you can do, okay, we'll take a minute to a couple minutes just to go through and make our selections. This is awesome, Jordan. I know you had to do this on the fly, so thank you so much for that.
no worries.
We have several members of the community here this evening. We're very happy to have them, but should they be included in the vote?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Gail. Thank you.
Gail, you piped up with yes?
Yeah, I did. Because that helps us also
Okay,
to
good.
really see what would attract them to coming to the community board
Right.
and learning more about it. So I
Fine
think that's
by,
helpful.
fine by me.
Okay. Does anybody else need any more time? So we're all finished. Hold off, Jordan, from releasing the results. I just want to make sure that Peggy, I know you had some comments to make, as well as Danielle.
Should I talk now or?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm just following up on points made about how to get more public participation in the surveys. And what I have noticed is that apart from social media, which Gail and I have used a lot for the Women and Families Committee's forums, but it doesn't turn up that many participants. In terms of survey, what I've noticed, other organizations that are doing neighborhood surveys, what do you want to see happen in blah, 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 choose the top 5 or whatever it is. They go to patch.com to publicize. And sometimes you can vote via patch.com. In fact, more and more, you can vote directly on patch.com. And it has a little bit more legitimacy than the local social media sites that are a little on the overly chatty, anybody got a good restaurant recommendation kind of stuff. So there is more gravitas to patch.com, which I think that we should endeavor, if we can, to get the survey on patch.com and reach out to people that normally wouldn't be interacting with the community board. They probably would see patch.com. We can also do, and I think this applies broadly, something that the communications committee can do. Put out a press release. Just send, oh, did I do something wrong?
No, we hear you.
So put out a press release announcing that we're going to do that, and see if we can pick up that way. It would, again, it's like patch.com, it would have more gravitas. People would take it more seriously than some of these websites. You could put it on the website, but I think people might end up voting, more 3 times on a website. They're just, as I said, Gail and I have used them all the time, and they're a little squirrely.
Peggy, Peggy, do you know someone at Patch?
I have dealt with them. I don't know them personally, but I have dealt with them. But if the community board wants this to be on a survey to be on Patch, like they do the other surveys they put on Patch, we all can just try to get in touch with them. One of us can designate, you know,
Okay,
getting in touch. I mean, obviously, it's not something that we're going to do next few months, but once we're ready for it, then I think we should definitely endeavor to do
thank
that.
you.
But also I think we should put out a press release about it it would also accompany our request to have the survey on patch.com. You know, they could make it into a story to go with the survey and send out the press release. I mean, I think that the communications committee probably needs a press release, because not just for the purposes of the survey, but for programs. You know, we haven't done that. All that happened so far is that it turns up on the regular feed on CB8, but we need more outreach than that. We really need outreach to more of the media to get coverage, and an effective ways to do that, it would be, you know, press releases, if we can do that.
Thank you, Peggy.
Excellent,
Thank you,
excellent,
Peggy. Great
excellent
ideas.
suggestion. Yeah,
Thank you.
totally.
Can we get Danielle and Miles quick?
Yeah, if I can speak. So I think, you know, why I wanted to join the community board here is because a lot of people are just not aware that the community board exists. They don't know what we do. They have no idea. They think that if they're going to complain, they got to go to the mayor's office. Like, that's it. There's no middle ground. And I think the most important thing is to simplify and start putting out the message of who the community board is, what issues we can help people with, and most importantly, a place where they can be heard by the community. A lot of people just want to be heard. Even if the solution is not going to be reached, it's something that's very, very important. I've had parents, because the reason why I even got involved was because, like, I helped the whole stroller policy. Now you can bring strollers on MTA buses. I was the one that spearheaded that. And the reason for why I got people so involved was because I went to Facebook groups, I went to WhatsApp groups, I went to cocktail parties, I spoke about it, and I got people really energized. The message has to be the same for community board. And it could be across a slew of issues that we represent every single month, have them come for budget, parks, whatever. But the message has to be short, concise, and simplified, and then get people to really start to engage as a place of resource and service.
Thank you, Danielle.
Miles, good to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you. Thank you. So I'll try to keep this short, but the past 2 summers, I've interned at a business improvement district, and or I should say, we are currently going under an expansion, which means we need to get a lot of survey responses from the community. So kind of it's a district needs assessment, just not for the community board. And I could talk a lot about the strategies that we use, but one of the big ones is partnering with local news sources and newspapers. And the big one on the west side that we use a lot is West 42nd. And I'm wondering if, I'm looking at one right now on Instagram that I actually follow. It's called East Side Feed. It has 22,000 followers. And I'm curious if this committee or the board as a whole has reached out to these kind of independent local newspapers, because I think that would be a really effective way to get the word out, because I think frequent readers and followers of those are people that tend to be inclined to worry about and partake in community issues, which are the kind of people that we are looking for to fill out this survey.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if that was a thing. And the other thing that we do is offer small incentives, which I don't know if we could do that, but you say, if you fill out the survey, you get a chance to win a $10 gift card to this local business, which we found is often effective. I don't think we could do that, but that's something
Just a tip here. If you want to meet those local publications, you know where they all go? To the NYPD precinct monthly meetings that they have there.
Yeah.
Because they like to report on the crime that's going on in the neighborhood.
And they all come to our community board meetings and report on our voting. So
Correct.
they're at our meetings. All right. So 2 more things. I think, Sharon, we
Yes.
covered we want to talk about the logo, and there was
Yes.
The logo and the
First,
results.
yes, I got you, Robin. Quick question. Who is AG on this call?
Yeah, really. Secret agent.
Do we have a name in the registration, Robin? I mean, Jordan?
Check, but it might just be a member of the public, just
Okay.
attending.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Robin, I'm sorry. Jordan, if you would not mind releasing the results.
Yes.
Do we have Academy Award music? I'm wondering.
Can you see the results?
Oh, wow. Yes.
Oh,
Interesting.
we're thinking the same.
So it's your voice on the east side and CB8 works for you, and We're Your Voice are the top three? Is that right?
Yeah, We're Your Voice. And Your Voice on the east side. And what was the other one?
CB8 works for you.
CB8 works for you. Thanks, Sahar. Oh, I see. I see. Yes, yes, I see. Yes.
So,
Okay.
so we're gonna vote on these at our full board meeting in a couple of weeks. The whole community board will vote on these.
You have actually a couple that are tied, like CBS Works for You with 36%, as well as We're Your Voice for 36%.
Okay.
And then,
There are three that are tied
And
at
then-
30.
yeah, your
Yeah.
neighborhood voice and then building community. I would think that we probably would include wherever we have ties, even if it's more than three. To see
Yeah,
if one
I think
likes.
that'll work because we're
Yeah.
going to have 4.
Uh-huh.
So then it's 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're good to go.
We have one more topic.
Actually, 2 more. So does anyone have any old business? We have 2 items under new business very quickly. Danielle, yeah, I see you. Did you want to talk about the fact sheet? And if we've been listening to you, we already have an idea.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'm happy to send everybody the copy that I suggested. And I think it needs to even be shortened. But if you guys are interested, I think that's the best solution, to just send it to you by email. You guys can look at it and we just make it a bit more concise, to the point, make it a bit more punchy, a little bit more clever, and start circulating it.
Okay, perfect. All right, that works. And the last item under new business is I'm looking at a refresh of the photos that are on Community Board 8's website. Did you want to kick that off, Robin?
I will kick it out, but I want to talk about the logo, which we just got a list of approved logo designers. It came today.
Oh, yeah.
And we are going to, Gail is going to take the lead. I just elected you because you are our RFP expert. We're going to put out an RFP to these logo designers on the New York City approved list, which is, we're hemmed into using this list. So we're going to work with these people, let the chips fall where they may, and see what they could come up with. Gail's going to come.
Okay.
Gail will guide me, I guess, on putting this RFP together.
Right. I mean, I think the communications committee, people like yourself, Peggy, Alita, we've all kind of worked on these things in the past, but we have to be extremely specific. We also have to agree on how much we're going to pay. Because in the RFP, we have to have specifications as to what we expect, how many drafts, and what they will be compensated for.
Right. So we will get a little subcommittee together and start working on that, since it took us about 6 months to even get this list. you know, anyway, we'll talk about it and get that going.
Okay.
The
I
art,
see Miles and Alita. Miles?
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal, but I feel like it could be a good sentiment if it's possible to choose a designer maybe from the neighborhood. I know it's probably a big list. I don't know if that's possible or not. If it is, I think it'd be a good kind of show of support for the community if that's an option.
Yeah, good suggestion, if they're on the list. This is a
Exactly.
city-approved vendor list, so if they're on the list, we really would welcome the opportunity to choose someone on the Upper East Side, I think. Alita?
Thanks. I think that having the motto before sending out any RFP will be good, so that they could work with that. The other thing is you need to have someone look at this legally because we need to own the rights to that logo, either as a work for hire or to buy them outright. So yeah, I'm just saying it now before all of this gets a life of its own.
thank you, Alita.
Oh,
And
but
the,
I think we have an attorney on
I'm
this
not,
committee.
I mediate copyright cases. I don't practice copyright law. So I just would
I
want to be
understand.
very specific, but I could probably have access to someone who could do that, just throwing it out there.
and the very
Okay.
last thing is the website, which needs a lot of work. Let's put it that way. The website needs a lot of work. You know, I called up Alita today. I took a look at the website. I said, why isn't the art show front and center on the website? I think that should be the landing page right now. And maybe a little button that says click here for the calendar, but we could, you know, I'm getting into the weeds right now. We could talk about that later. But the art show should be front and center on the website.
Thank you.
So, well, you're going to get that done, I'm sure. So, so then we talked about the photographs on the website. There are 4 photographs. They're static. The photographs should be in a carousel format rather than a static format. And it was suggested to me that we, the Community Board 8 Communications Committee, gets an intern to photographs, scenes in our district that would be much more appropriate to put on the website, much more relevant, welcoming, warmer, more gracious. And these photographs would operate in a carousel format rather than the static way they are now. So it was suggested to me to get an intern to do that. Peggy.
Wait a
Well,
minute,
I
I'm
did.
sorry, just 1 second, Peggy. I just wanted to sort of give the flip side of this equation. My recommendation is that we extend the opportunity to the public because we are the communications committee, and that we put out a call to the public and ask them to send us photographs of their hood, of their street, or anything that interests them on the Upper East Side. I really like the idea of public engagement in this way. And that would be a first step, by the way, of introducing them, I think, to the community board. And we can credit their photographs. We could set up a separate email account, photographs at, CB8M.com, and look at the various photographs. And every couple of weeks or so, we could swap out those photographs, as Robin alluded to, in a carousel style. So where there are opportunities to bring the public in and increase that engagement with the community board overall, I think that that's something that we could do. But ultimately, it'll be up to the committee in terms of whether we go ahead and decide on an intern or reach out to the public to get photographs from residents of the Upper East Side. I see that Miles and Peggy both have their hands up, and also Alita. Miles?
I don't know if I should be doing this, but I've taken photography classes and I have a camera. So if anyone has any ideas of things they'd like to be photographed, or if I'm allowed to offer my services, I would love to help out, go take some shots.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Of course, I'd love to.
Thank you. Perfect.
Peggy,
Yeah, so I was going to say, Robin, I do the photography for the art show, and I'd be happy to help out in other regards as well, taking pictures.
right, so,
Uh,
right, so what we're thinking about, Miles and Peggy, is walking around the whole neighborhood, the whole Upper East Side, and taking photographs.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's time consuming, but it will look a lot nicer than what we have now.
Yeah.
The reason that I discussed this with Sharon ahead of time, opening it up to the community, and I will not volunteer to be in a position of sitting and looking at hundreds or thousands of pictures given to us by the community. It will just be possibly overwhelming and way too time consuming. So that's why I thought that putting a pretty tight lid on this, like Miles and Peggy would be a very nice group to do this, might be much easier for us, much less time consuming, but
I think
Yeah,
that
if I may say, I think Robin is right. It needs to be somewhat screened because you can get a lot of people sending in lesser quality photographs, but you don't want to hurt their feelings by not putting them on the site. So you really have to start small and selective and feel your way through it. You can expand the horizons, but to open it up to everybody and their brother right away is just going to cause a lot of hard feelings, I think, and a lot of disappointed people who, don't know why their pictures aren't on the site and then want to get in touch and find out why. And some people are going to say, oh, I need to be paid. You don't want to open yourself up to that kind of mess till you really are up and running and know exactly what you're doing about the photography.
Okay, good point. Thank you so much, Peggy. Alita?
Thanks. I think it's wonderful to engage the community, but I have to agree with Peggy and Robin. I would be concerned about people making loud objections if their photographs aren't chosen, aside from a great amount of time to vet all of this. I'd also suggest that someone talk to legal counsel, and I know I sound like a wet blanket. It's my legal training. So to talk to legal counsel at Mark Levine's office and make sure that we could use photographs with people's faces in them, aside from ownership and copyright issues, which is another reason not to open it to the public, because people might not want their photos out there. And I don't have any idea what the legal restrictions are. The borough president's office is in charge of us and they should know. But I think certainly, I think a variety of photos, and we could get much better ones on the Upper East Side. And I just want to put in a plug, because Ai Weiwei, the Chinese artist, is doing an exhibition, an installment over at the Four Freedoms Park on Roosevelt Island. And that is something that would definitely be worth a lot of photographs of the kinds of things that we have on the Upper East Side and the arts engagement. And I urge everyone, I've seen his work in Washington at one of the national museums. I think everyone should kind of run over there. I don't know what the trams are like anymore, Sharon, but we do have a lot of interesting things here, and there should be a much more dynamic display, aside from what Robin's talking about in terms of the website. It's outdated and you can't find things, and it should be much smoother, easier to navigate. And that might be something we have no idea about, whether it repels people, the difficulty in navigating the website.
It's repellent.
So thank you.
So, okay, good. We've had some good feedback and appreciate it. Thanks, Miles and Peggy, for stepping up. Really appreciate it. And I thought someone else had their hand up.
Sharon, me, I did.
Oh, Sahar. Yeah, sorry about that.
No issues. Sharon, just wanted to mention that my son can also take pictures if you want. He's done it for our art show. Alida and Peggy, they all have seen his work. So if you just want one more person, just in case,
Yes,
then he could
yes.
be also, he also has a camera just like Miles, and so could do some, and maybe some of them would be nice. So you can choose
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Thank you, Sahar. That's a great,
That's a good mother who
that's,
volunteers her child.
Yeah, he's a high schooler, but yes.
Can I just add something else? Maybe you could take some pictures of the art show that Peggy or Sahar's son did and put them on the website immediately, because we want people to come in October, and they're just so vibrant and colorful and exciting and interesting, I think. So thank you to the folks who did that, but that's something that might attract people and might help move audience and shoppers over to the art show.
I think it's 7:41. It's a good time to wrap up, and really wanted to let everyone know that this has been a good conversation, and thank you so much for that. And I wanted to open the floor for any other additional comments.
I had a question. Just wanted to ask that what is the deadline till, is there a date by which you want those pictures by Peggy, Miles, and Fahad, my son?
let's hold off until I check in with Valerie
Okay.
and tell her that I have 3 interns, which are Peggy, Miles.
I love Peggy as an intern, yeah.
We have 3 good interns, and then I'm gonna discuss with her the issues that Alita brought up about
Yeah.
all
The
the,
legal issues and taking
Right.
pictures of people's
Right.
spaces.
you know, the
What's
website needs a drastic rehab, but I just felt like it's easy to get the pictures going. That's like an easy thing to do. So at least we could get started with that. How difficult it is to find things on the website. Things are not labeled properly. There are events that took place 6 months ago that are still showing on the website. So somebody's got to take ownership of this and start looking at it.
Yeah, and I think Robin and Sharon, as you've been saying, the art show needs a lot more publicity front and center now. This isn't something that we should be putting off. I mean, by next week, for example, there should be a whole revision of the front page to feature the art show.
The front page of the website?
Yeah.
Yes,
homepage.
so when you go to the website, the landing page is the calendar. What I'm suggesting is that the art show flyer be the landing page, and then have a button somewhere on there that would say, click here for the calendar.
See, actually, it might be possible to have both. So you could still have the calendar, but place information or a flyer regarding the art show above the calendar. So essentially, you're not moving the calendar. You're moving it further down. The person would have to scroll down to see the calendar, but this way it won't be either or. So you can have multiple items actually on your home page.
Jordan, would you know, is there some legal requirement that the calendar be the landing page? Is that a requirement by law?
No.
Not anything that I know of.
Okay.
But in addition, we aren't the ones who it wouldn't be up to me. Like, I can add photos onto the website, but changing the entire web page
No, I understand rehabbing the web pages with the company that we work with. I get that. But I'm just talking about little steps that we could take before we undergo a huge rehab, which is
Sure.
publicizing the art show.
On the landing page.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a legal requirement to have
Okay.
the calendar, but that's also something that I would check in. I'll check in with Will about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I can say that, having been on the community board for 25 years, it didn't used to have the calendar on the homepage.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with Peggy. And also, I have some familiarity with community boards across the city, and almost every community board website is a little bit different. So I think that it can, I mean, you know what's a good website? Community Board 6 website. They have a pretty good website. And I also have to tell you that I think Community Board 11's website is pretty good. What I encourage everyone to do is just to randomly pick a community board. Community Board 7 on the west side also has a pretty good website. So but that doesn't mean that our website should replicate theirs. What it means more than anything else is that we do have some leeway in terms of how we design it and what the look and feel of it should be for our community. And actually, that's good news that we can ensure that we make those tweaks that make it relevant to us. So I think that's it. Oh, Gail.
The one thing I wanted to say is I think that if we can look at the website, talk to the folks who actually do the maintenance for us, find out what the design is, what can be done easily, what can't. And although we've already approved the budget, the CB8 budget for this year, there's no reason that if we need a full overhaul, that we can't think in terms of exactly what we would like and get some prospective bids on those for next year. And then we can move forward to actually redo the website, but we don't have enough money to do that right now.
Will told me we have some company that we pay $250 a month. And
For the
they
maintenance.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a flat rate and they make the changes.
Yes, but they make certain changes for us. If I understand it correctly, we're looking to see whether we want a different design and we want to change and upgrade the entire website. And if we're going to do that, that's very different from having the changes made for us. That was all I was going to suggest to keep in mind
No,
for
that's a
next
good
year.
point.
Let's take a look. If we really, we look at other websites for community boards and we say, gee, ours just isn't compelling enough. It's fine, it works. But if we want something else, I would think we should look at what elements we would want if we had a wish list and we were able to have a brand new website, what would we want? And then kind of work down through that to look at.
I think that's a good point, Gail. And so for the short term, as Peggy pointed out, we need to, and I love this idea, by the way, of having that space above the calendar, a space where we have reserved for things that we want to draw people's attention to immediately that's happening within the next week or the next couple of weeks. And we should be able to do that. That's a relatively easy thing to do. And so thank you so much, everybody. Unless anybody else has anything else to say, I want to thank as well Jordan for being Johnny or Sally on the spot with respect to the polls. So I appreciate those changes and the work that you did with that. Good night, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry, Sahar.
Yeah, if it's too late, I won't speak, but just wanted.
It's not too late. Go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to know that since we're already paying $250 per month to this, company to do the work for us, I was just wondering what if we, and I think maybe that's what you were also saying, but I'm just wondering what if we like analyze the current website and there might be options already available within that band. Like, GoDaddy, for instance, is one of the domains where you make the website and they have options. And we might not be availing them right now with our current, the way it has been put together. But if we ask them without putting extra cash down, we might be able to make many edits and beautify the current one with, I think, pictures which Robin and you have decided to bring in. That's going to beautify it. But that flipping picture with each of our committee names coming right in, in the bar on the top, maybe that's an option that is already available. And they just have to kind of revamp it a little bit. And it might not be costly. And also, of course, what Robin was suggesting, having that one coming up, like, the art committee coming up, right? Our event coming up. But any of those, the next one up can be going up. Those are things that can be maybe edited right now with even our current website. So maybe having a conversation with the current agency might already bring these options instead of bringing someone else and redoing everything from scratch.
Thank
Good
you,
point.
Sahar.
Good
We need
point.
to-
Thank
we
you
need to-
very
we need-
much.
We need to move to adjourn, folks.
Okay. Well, bye, everybody.
Bye, Peggy. Bye. Bye,
Thank you.
Miles. Bye,